Well, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Take 5. It is Friday, June 10th, 2011, and if you watched yesterday's broadcast, I told you that was one of my favorite passages. Today is one of my least favorite, but necessary for all of us. We've got to read it, though. We're in Matthew chapter 26. Then one of the 12, whose name, we're in verse 14. Then one of the 12, whose name was Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, "What will you give me if I deliver him over to you?" And they paid him 30 pieces of silver, and from that moment he sought an opportunity to betray him. You know, Jesus picked 12 disciples. And although Jesus loved everybody and he went to the crowds and he touched many people and taught many people and healed many people, he had his favorites. And these were his 12. And so these were his closest human friends, his closest friends here on earth. And one of them betrays him. I'm going to read a corollary passage so we can understand why things like this happen. This is in Luke 22, verse 5. Then Satan entered into Judas, called Iscariot, who was of the number of the 12. He went away and conferred with the chief priests and officers how he might betray him to them. It says Satan entered into Judas. Now the fact is, we do have the enemy to deal with. Judas, certainly his name is now synonymous with being a traitor. If you call it, most people are not going to name their child Judas. And if you call somebody a Judas, you're saying you're a traitor. Same as Benedict Arnold, having to do with our American Revolution here. You know, and being a traitor is one of the worst things anybody could ever do. Even bad guys. The worst thing for a bad guy is to be a rat and turn in your buddy to the cops. That even makes you a worse guy in a lot of cases. Well, here we have the Son of God being betrayed by one of his best friends. But it's because Satan entered him. And the reason I tell you this is probably everybody watching has been betrayed by somebody. Somebody you're close to has absolutely betrayed you, has hurt you bad. Those of us who've been divorced know that probably more than anybody. But everybody goes through that. Try not to hold your anger at the actual person. Get angry at Satan. All the evil that is caused in the world is either caused by or influenced by Satan. I wrote an article yesterday called They're Here, and it's from the movie Poltergeist. But the fact is, they are here. Just as in that movie, those forces, those ghosts or whatever they were in that house. The demonic forces are here and they're present on earth. And we have to resist them and we have to fight them. But we have to understand that when people do things we don't understand, evil things, there is satanic influence there. Satan is our real enemy. Satan is the one that really caused Judas to do this. Now Judas had to be leaning that way anyway. Alright? And Satan can't get a hold of you if you're really close to God and going his direction and trying to follow him. He'll tempt you and he'll mess you up a little bit now and then, but he's not going to grab hold of you like this. But when you're open to it and you're not thinking straight and you're not close to God and you're starting to have attitudes anyway, he can get a hold of you. But if you've couple things here and then we'll wrap it up. If you've ever been betrayed, I just want you to know Jesus knows how you feel. He can absolutely relate to you. He was betrayed by one of his closest friends. And the second thing is, just be aware of Satan. Alright, I told you this is not one of my favorite passages, and it's hard for me to smile or be jovial as I usually am. Come back tomorrow. This is hard stuff we're getting into. We're getting into the crucifixion of my hero. It's tough. Okay. See you tomorrow in the next edition of Take 5.